Salute, everyone. The streets are buzzing. Hope everyone's doing well. It's Friday night, NBA Finals going down. Knicks Nation, Knicks Streets assemble. Got a big show. CT rocking out on the solo tonight. Very interactive show tonight. I want to talk about the CAA connections, talk about the rumors going on around the league, but let's look at the facts, the connections that this club has with the CAA fam. Obi Toppin, rep by Sam Rose, Leon Rose's son. We'll talk about the news that dropped today, some latest reports, but also want to look at the free agent tracking first and foremost. Which players are free agents? What type of free agent are they going to be? Man, this is going to be a big show. I'm going to be dropping timestamps after the live stream for replay, gang. Salute to everyone out here. Salute to the best chat in the biz. Let's go. Happy Friday night. Hope everyone is doing well. How we feeling? Right now, the NBA off-season is heating up. The draft is around the corner. We're hearing news of Knicks working players out. And yeah, man, this is the time. This is go time. What off-season? Salute to the whole chat. How we feeling? Big game tonight. Obviously, game 4. We'll keep our eye out on the scores. But man, yeah, the Nuggets bounce back. What are the Heat going to do? You know, the Heat have been tough all season. Right, this is their season on the line tonight. But yeah, it's all about these New York Knicks, man. You know, CAA, right? First and foremost, when we talk about CAA, a lot of people cringe, you know, and talk about, you know, we keep mentioning it, but the facts are the facts. You know, there's always going to be an affinity with CAA, with Leon Rose here. You know, we have 5 to 6 Knicks players repped by CAA, so we're going to talk about the CAA family, you know, which players are in the CAA agency, who they're repped by. But in particular, I want to talk about Obi Toppin because Sam Rose, as many of you know, some of you may not know, is Leon Rose's son. Sam Rose. Leon Rose, obviously former head of CAA, right? He would be in contact with these agents you see on screen on the regular, probably on a weekly basis as well. And as we know, an agent's job is to get the best for their client, right? So we're going to talk a bit about Obi Toppin and some connections to Indiana as we see Sam Rose on screen. Obi Toppin rep by Sam, and Sam also reps Jalen Brunson, of course. Rick Brunson, Jalen's father, you know, to sort of talk about the origins real quick. You know, Rick Brunson was Leon Rose's very first client. And then obviously now Jalen Brunson, the son of Rick, you know, he used to, you know, be, you know, connected. Sam Rose now has taken that on, managing Jalen, manages Chris Duarte in Indiana, Isaiah Jackson in Indiana, Usman Garuba with the Houston Rockets, and of course our former Knick, Frank Ntilikina, who returned to CAA. Leon Rose used to rep Frank. Now Frank returned back to CAA. He's repped by Leon Rose's son and Obi Toppin. Of course, now, you know, we're not really here to speculate, but you got to connect the dots in terms of if you're Obi Toppin's agent, you're going to want the best for him, right? If we're keeping it real, the situation with the New York Knicks is dicey in terms of he's coming up, you know, extension eligible. He's going to want, you know, a bigger role, you know, in this league. Now, he has one more year to run. You know, that could run with the New York Knicks. But if we're looking ahead with the draft coming up, that's one connection to watch. Obviously, Sam Rose reps a player like Chris Duarte in Indiana, who's also kind of on the outer, you know, fallen out of the rotation, in a situation where he had a great rookie year, was hampered by injury in his second year, sophomore year. Chris Duarte is a guy that the Knicks actually really looked at. So we're not here to speculate. There is real connections there. and let's see what plays out, on draft night. I wouldn't be shocked if Obi hangs around for that final year of his rookie deal. But then, of course, if a move were to happen on draft night, I would not be shocked at all. As we've talked about on the show, the chat talked about, there's legit connections there. Indiana have the 26th and the 29th selections. So, yeah, you guys let me know with that. Sam Rose, obviously Leon's son, in constant connection. Obi Toppin was Leon's first draft pick as president of the New York Knicks. So he's going to want the best for him as well as Sam will as his agent. Indiana have a nice potential young roster fit for Obi moving ahead. So that's something to watch. Yeah, and then obviously throughout tonight's show, we'll be going through the live free agency tracker, unrestricted free agents, restricted free agents, players with a player option, and players with a team option. We're going to go through the whole list, connect the dots with CAA also. But even if they're not CAA, we're still going to talk about good mid-level exception fits, and maybe players that could fit into our salary cap situation. The New York Knicks can still clear salary. And just sort of talking on the draft, I really feel like I feel strongly that the New York Knicks will find themselves in the draft, whether it's in the second round and they buy a second round pick or a trade, or late in the first round. I'm really feeling strong that the New York Knicks are going to want to dip into this draft and get a bite, get a taste of some young talent back into this situation. So that's another reason why I sort of look at that Obi situation with Indiana, and all the connections there, clients rep by Sam Rose, Obi, and Duarte and Isaiah Jackson with Indy having draft picks as well. Salute to the whole chat. How we feeling? Yeah, Dirty says we're working out some guys. Yeah, nothing to really write home about at this stage. To be honest, I don't see a whole lot of roster movement this off season. But would I be shocked? Of course, you can't be shocked in this day and age. But yeah, I really think we're going to be looking at the mid-level upgrades, which we'll talk about tonight. But the CAA situation, I just really wanted to hit on that with Obi and Sam Rose, Leon's son, repping him. And of course, a year or two down the line, we need to cast our eye on this CAA family because we have 5 to 6 rep players with the Knicks, with CAA. And as I said, the affinity is going to be there. We have Julius Randle. We have Jalen Brunson. We have Josh Hart. We have Isaiah Hartenstein. We have Obi Toppin. We have former Knicks as well. Yep. Let's before we really dive in, let's address some of the news today. We heard that from Yahoo Sports that the Phoenix Suns, obviously during the week they waived Chris Paul. There's every chance Chris Paul's going to stay in Phoenix, but I really think there's going to be an option for him to choose where he wants to go if he feels more comfortable in LA. But what are the Phoenix Suns trying to do? Well, they're trying to really overhaul their roster a little bit. They fell short of expectations. There's rumors that they are, talking internally about Emmanuel Quickley, which could be a really good fit. So that's one rumor out there. We've always talked about IQ's value around the league. I think it's probably the highest of any young Knicks player, given the salary situation. RJ Barrett would probably be really close, but I think Emmanuel Quickley is enticing for a lot of teams. So that's something to keep our eye out. We heard a report that also Karl Anthony Towns may be on the move in the coming weeks. I don't know if it's going to be that imminent, but that was just another rumor. Also, yeah, we have the reports, with the Philadelphia 76ers, James Harden, he's torn between the Rockets and the Sixers as well. I fully expect him to leave the Philadelphia 76ers. I think it's just a little bit of posturing for his, name, his image out there. But I think the Houston Rockets is a good situation for him to go to, get the keys again, and do what he, try to finish unfinished business out there. Yeah, look, Zach LaVine, as Dirty asks my thoughts on the Zach LaVine situation. Um, yeah, the offense is really enticing. I think offensively the fit is there. Um, Salary wise, defensively, big concerns, as you know, a lot of people have with Zach. Um, Look, I really are leaning towards I'd rather sit that one out, to be honest with you. I know it's an upgrade offensively, but I'd much rather look at other options, which we will tonight. Um, Another big rumor drop today is that Donovan Mitchell, no secret, still interested in playing in New York, being close to family, Westchester native. Um, you know, is a pro. He's going to give it his best in Cleveland. But I think, yeah, the clock's ticking on that situation. And if and when he were to become a trade candidate or a free agent, you would have to guarantee and bet your house that the New York Knicks are going to be a destination that he's going to look at. So, yeah, that's another reason why I don't think we need to rush this situation. Dirty, give me your thoughts on Zach also. Um, Yeah, I feel like we're not under as much pressure because, again, like I said in the last stream, I think the Knicks can finish in the second or third seed next season with minimal upgrades. You bring in a mid-level, you bring in a couple of shooters, internal development improvement. Josh Hart, another season of him, a full season of Emmanuel Quickley if he's here. Quentin Grimes in the starting unit, hopefully uninterrupted with injuries, and I think we're ready to go, man. I think we're ready to rock. But there's going to be those names. There's going to be Cat. There's going to be the LaVine situation, and all of that. So let's just glance over it before we dive into the free agency tracker, so that we have that foresight of who's a CAA client, and then we're going to bounce back. But first and foremost, we have Aaron Mintz, who represents Grayson Allen. We've heard a lot of connections and rumors with Grayson Allen last off season. Now we know why. He's a CAA client. He's a shooter. The deal didn't really make sense with Grayson last off season, and now we know they had their eye on Josh Hart for that situation. Akita Bates Diop is actually a free agent, which we'll see in the tracker. I'm looking forward to diving into that. But yeah, he's an intriguing name. Um, not a very high salary as well. Torrey Craig, another big name, being bantied about. Offers shooting, offers defense, solid role player. I would love it. I would love me a Torrey Craig. Yeah, to get in here, and play a two-way game. You know how I love two-way players. Um, so what are you guys' thoughts on any of those three names? Allen, Bates, Diop, Torrey Craig, Paul George, a name to watch for the future, but I don't see LA, the Clippers, making any big changes this offseason with PG. A little on the older side, perfect archetype. We all know that, but I don't think he's going to be available. Eric Gordon, another CAA client. We've always heard his name connected with the New York Knicks, past his prime now. Um, if he does find himself on the Knicks, I fully expect it to be a veteran minimum, nothing more, nothing less. If not this off season, maybe later in the future. But you know, he's a Chicago native. Boys with Derrick Rose. There is some connections there. But the Knicks were rumored to trade for an Eric Gordon, but it didn't make sense. So let's see. If he's a free agent, he might find his way on the Knicks for that vet minimum. Jalen Green, very enticing name to watch for the future. What are you guys' thoughts on Jalen Green's game? Set for a huge year with the Houston Rockets. Um, you know, Playing in a squad that's all over the place. Obviously, they fired their coach. Let's see what Green does this off season. Now to another Green, Josh Green with the Dallas Mavericks. He's an intriguing wing with upside. Uh, we'll see if he would be available in the future. We know the Dallas Mavs are looking to make a splash. You know, I think they'll keep Kyrie. Most likely, money talks. They can offer him a big role. but they need to make some upgrades. Does Josh Green become available in a trade candidate? Let's see. I've never heard Josh's Green name linked to the New York Knicks. He is CAA, but um, that's probably on the lesser likely side. A guy who's probably going to be very available, I think he's an unrestricted free agent, is Gary Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, what are you guys' thoughts on that? Good role player coming off the bench, can shoot, offer some offense. Let's see. We all know Josh Hart. We know I Hart, our boys, CAA rep all day. Reggie Jackson backing up with the Clips. Sorry, he's now with the Nuggets, actually playing in the NBA Finals. Luke Kennard is a free agent. Walker Kessler just settling in with Utah. We have Julius Randle, of course, rep by Aaron Mintz. And T-Rex Ross as well. He's a free agent, which we'll talk about. He's a candidate to find himself on the Knicks, I think we're getting a bit warmer with Terrence Ross. Depends what kind of deal. But if we're looking at, smaller upgrade, a Terrence Ross name can make sense, along with the Torrey Craig, Grayson Allen, Bates Diop, D'Lo Russell. Keep me out of that situation. But yeah, D'Lo Russell is a situation where he's a free agent or extension eligible, rep by Aaron Mintz. So yeah, Aaron Mintz reps Julius, reps Josh Hart, reps I Hart as well. He's a dual head of CAA now. He'll be talking to Leon Rose on the regular, so that's important to note. His client list, ladies and gentlemen, any of those names may find themselves on the Knicks. We have now Austin Brown, his major client Zion, in the news for all the wrong reasons. Can't stay healthy. Was a big name on the New York Knicks list. I don't know what that means moving ahead. I don't think the Knicks, the way we're trending, would have anything to do with Zion at this point. The guy needs to get healthy, and the guy needs to get on the court, and produce, show the world what he could, what he's capable of. But another name working from the bottom up, Miles Turner, signed the big deal in Indy, was once a big target for Leon. I think Mark Berman told us, I think it was trade deadlines ago, the New York Knicks were in discussions with Indy, and Indy pulled away. So I think we're happy with iHeart. We're happy with Mitch at this point. A Miles Turner one doesn't make sense at this point in time, but we don't know. Maybe in the future. Yeah, intriguing name is Peyton Pritchard. Looks like he's trying to shake out of Boston. Maybe he gets a situation where he's talked about. Jordan Poole, not a fit financially, not a fit at all. Now Spider Mitchell, always going to be links there. If you're a betting man, I think you've got to find yourself at least 50-50 that Spider is a future New York Knick. That's speculation, but there's enough dots, to connect there, of course, rep by Austin Brown. We saw a first-hand look at Caris LeVert in the playoffs. Had a couple of nice games with Cleveland, but then he sort of filtered out. He's inconsistent. He's a little bit soft. He's a little bit injury prone for my liking. But Caris LeVert can provide that offense off the bench as well. If he's available for the mid-level, would that be something the Knicks look at? Damian Lee, intriguing name. Kyle Kuzma, a lot of the fan base talking about Kyle. He's a free agent, can choose his destination as well. It's important to note that he's CAA repped. So we could expect to hear, links, maybe the Knicks names mentioned in that. Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., father is with the Westchester Knicks. There's connections there as well, but he's locked up in Memphis. Rashawn Holmes could be an intriguing name as a backup. Malcolm Brogdon, he's actually a free agent. Seth Curry and Will Barton are free agents as well. Seth Curry's a name I would look at if you're going to either split the mid-level with two guys or look at a cap space situation. Seth Curry, he's not just a shot taker, he's a shot maker. And that's what we need, fam. We need players that can sink shots, not just take them. So he's an intriguing name that I will look out for. Will Barton, of course. Ty Sullivan reps Devontae Graham, Davian Mitchell, and TJ Warren, I believe, is a free agent, as we're about to look into. And then we touched on Sam Rose. Like, look at his smaller client list. It's JB, Chris Duarte, Garuba, Jackson, Toppin, and Frank. Mitch Nathan represents Jonas Valanciunas, Devin Vassell. Knicks were linked with a Devin Vassell selection, quite possibly in the draft, but they selected Obi. But Devin Vassell's out there. Chris Paul, potentially. There's, Leon Rose was obviously Chris Paul's first last agent, I believe, before he became the Knicks prez. Steve Howman reps Patty Mills, Royce O'Neal. Some intriguing names, providing some bench depth, scoring. Patty Mills is on the older side, veteran, cannot defend, but can run some offense off the bench, can shoot the lights out. Also, Royce O'Neal is a player I've always admired, plays defense, can score, can run the break. Torian Prince is an intriguing name also. Colby White, not very interested in an Andrew Wiggins. Then, of course, the big cat, Karl Anthony Towns, rep by Jessica Holtz, Devin Booker as well. A-listers there. And then Drew Morrison reps Rocco. And Shake Milton, who is a free agent. That's intriguing to know. So appreciate everyone rocking along. Salute. We buzzing in this off season, smashing that like button. And we're talking about the free agent tracking, the connections with CAA, and our good fits for the mid-level. Now we've got the tracker. Let's get into it. We got Russ, who's at the top, unrestricted free agent. Look at that whopping salary. No thanks. He's not going to get anything close to that, but I think the Clippers bring him back. I think that makes a lot of sense, fam. Now we got James Harden, probably the biggest unrestricted free agent name. Player option, bird rights, Philadelphia 76ers, reports he's torn. Like, where do you guys see James going? Like I said earlier in the show, I think it makes sense for him to just go back to Houston. I really do. Young team coming up, he can do all the scoring, all the shooting he likes. But yeah, he's obviously going to want the huge bag, and the salary situation is going to be tough. Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, young Tyrese Maxey, they're going to have to pay soon. So that's interesting. Now, intriguing name is Chris Middleton. Also free agent, but a player option. Is he going to decline that and re-sign with the Bucks, or is he going to explore his options? It remains to be seen how many teams have cap space, which is going to play into factor whether or not a player opts out of their player option or not. James Harden back to Houston makes sense, but Chris Middleton to a market like that, it's going to take a lot to decline a contender, to go to another club. So there's going to be suitors though for Chris Middleton. Kyrie Irving, more of a niche market for him at this point. I fully see him staying back, re-signing back in Dallas. For the salary he's on 34 mil. It makes sense. Dallas can't afford to lose him for nothing. Otherwise, they would be absolutely stuck. They'd be screwed if they did lose Kyrie. As we just hit on a couple of chats, Dirty says literally the only reason to want Cat is that he's boys with Booker. Yeah, it's tough, man. He's soft. I love the offense that Cat can provide, the shooting, stretching the floor. But what are you going to lose? You're going to lose rebounding. You're going to lose defensive toughness, tenacity. Not a high motor kind of guy, but the salary is insane as well. So again, I think I'm more inclined to running it back and just seeing, who can step up on this club. But of course, make upgrades. See if we can make a trade that makes sense, a draft pick and a mid-level signing. Bring in some extra scoring, ball handling, playmaking, and shooting as well. And then yeah, the Torrey Craig name's fascinating. Yeah. So after Kyrie, we hit on a name that's all over the place. Kristaps Porzingis at the top there, right? Fascinating situation. Washington, have their new prez, got a lot of autonomy. Michael Winger talks that in a year or two they're going to be likely to blow things up. For KP, what does that mean? He was actually on an interview a week ago with Ariel Helwani, his guy, and he put it out there that he's looking to decline that player option and sign a long-term deal. So that makes a lot of sense for KP. The injury concerns are there, so he needs to be looking out for his pocket, and signing a longer-term deal. Um, I could lean towards Washington investing in him still. Um, it's tough to lose. We all know as a club, it's tough to lose an asset for nothing. Could it be a sign and trade? Um, I would say it's more likely he stays in Washington. Um, the Knicks connection is obviously there, but to me, he's a name I like, but I just don't see it fitting at this point in time. I just don't see it working. You know, the love, the adoration that this club has for Mitch, for Randle, the connections at this point. I'm not here to try to disappoint anyone. I like KP's game. I think he would be an amazing fit on this club. But from the business side of things, I just don't see a trade working out or a signing working out. You see the salaries on, fam, 31 mil. If he's declining that player option, he's going to want at least the same salary, slightly less, and a situation where he's getting a lot of reps. He's getting a lot of scoring opportunities. I just don't see that happening right now. It'd be a major, major shake-up. What do you guys think? First big realistic name, KP. Dirty says the only KP trade I would do is Fournier Mitch and their pick back. Mitch is injury prone too. Yeah, look, a lot of players, have had certain injury concerns. Kristaps is fit. The shooting's nice, but in terms of the trade, I just don't see it making sense. Now, if we were to have a player coming off the books this off season with at the same time as Kristaps is unrestricted, it might make more sense, just a signing for cap space. But if we're talking about a trade, it makes things a lot more complicated. Sharp Power salute. I like the reunion with KP, but I'm thinking it's getting far away. Yeah, yeah. The dollar's got to make sense too, fam. Look, things could change if Washington say, look, like the new guy says, man, we're blowing things up right now. Sorry, KP. We're looking to blow things up. We don't need you. So I could see that opening the door. What's good, Mike? What do you think of the Donovan rumors? Yep, there's real substance. Real substance. CAA, Westchester native. Thought he was going to be a Knick. I think it's just one of those situations. Like, you know, before Brunson was signed, Ian Begley, SNY, said, I would never rule out the possibility of Brunson finding his way on the Knicks until the day he retires. I think it's the same thing with Spider. There's just so many connections. He wants to be here. You could tell he's a pro, but you look out for the real opportunities for that to happen. I don't think there'll be any concerns from their end pairing him up with Brunson. I think Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose would just try to find a way to make it work. Stagger lineups, play bigger in the front court, all sorts of different options, I think. But I'm going to put it at, 60-40, Donovan Mitchell becomes a Knick at some point in the next 2 years. Yeah. What's good, Buzzer? Appreciate you. What's good, fam? Um, yeah, KP's ability to block shots is exceptional. Scoring is what we need, but the rebounding is a concern as well. Durability concern. With that said, us fans, and we could see a fit, but we always mention Tom Thibodeau, man. He has a big say, and just is he a Tom Thibodeau kind of guy? We know Tom loves guys who can play 82, guys who can play 75, guys who play hurt, guys who hustle, can play 48 minutes, all those kinds of things. Is that the quality that KP brings? I'm not too sure about it. But me personally, if you guys want to know, I would welcome KP back. I got no issues, no concerns. What happened? What's in the past is in the past. It was 4 or 5 years ago. We're moving in another direction now. The fit is more ideal now than what it was. We got the guy. We got JB. We got good young talent. We got bench pieces. We got draft picks. KP himself is a more mature guy now. His game is matured as well. He doesn't just jack threes like he used to. He's more patient with the ball. I noticed. He's a willing passer. Of course, he can stretch stretch the floor, shoot the rock. Um, that's an interesting way to look at it too. Yeah, salary potentially clearing. Also, it comes down to how much is he humbled, fam. We talk about the salary. Is he gonna want a 5-year, 35 mil? Is some I'm not going to say crazy team, but is some ambitious, bold team out there willing to give him the big contract he wants? Maybe that's all he needs. But yeah, he did say he likes Washington, the city. He's friends with Advida, friends with Kuzma. I guess it just comes down to does KP feel wanted? Does he feel valued? And does the money please him? Yep. Sherwin says we can't afford KP. We don't need him. We need the small forward. Yep. Yep. There's more fits rather than KP. So let's continue down, right? D'Lo Russell, unrestricted free agent completely. LA has his bird rights. I expect him to be out of there, to be honest. The play in the playoffs, the way the season ended, the shot selection questionable, the salary demand, the situation LA are in, with Chris Paul available, possibly Kyrie. I don't see a D'Angelo Russell LA reunion. So is he a name that interests you, fam? Doesn't fit for me. Doesn't fit at all. We got JB. So yep. Then we got K Love, right? On unrestricted free agent, non-bird right. So he was obviously waived by the Cavs. Miami snatched him up. Great value, right? Rotation piece. I would have liked us to snatch him up, but we had Obi, of course. Now we got Vooch, Nikola Vucevic. Reports that the Chicago Bulls are looking to bring him back on maybe a 3-year deal. I don't really know what the Chicago Bulls are doing, man. They need to blow things up. Maybe it's a situation where they want to sign him and move him later. Don't lose an asset for nothing. Which kind of makes sense. You hate for a free agent to just leave you. They gave up a first-round pick or more for Vooch. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense for Vooch to re-sign. So it's a no for me. Draymond Green, player option, fascinating. He's going to a contender. Fred VanVleet, 2 years ago, possibly now not a fit. No. Harrison Barnes, unrestricted free agent. Enticing, interesting, pretty reasonable deal. Do you guys have any thoughts on Harrison Barnes? Don't know what kind of number. I don't see a fit unless a bigger deal eventuates and we move on from Randle or we move on from Barrett. Then Harrison Barnes might make more sense. But but can Sacramento afford to lose him? He's a big player for them. 21 mil he was on, unrestricted. They have his bird rights, of course. So, I could see a world in the future, but not a really big fit at this point with Randle and Barrett here. Now, Jeremy Grant, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting hotter in this situation because the Portland Trailblazers really looking to blow things up. What are you guys' thoughts firstly on Grant's game? I'm going to say it's a better fit than most of the guys we've spoken on so far. But, Jeremy Grant, again, if RJ and unless one of RJ or Randle is going, there's no fit for Grant. But if we are moving on from either RJ or Randle, then Grant makes a lot of sense. Completely unrestricted. Portland has his bird rights. Also was an all-star on 20 mil. What kind of contract is he going to want? Obviously, the cap's changing. It's going to be situational, but it's going to be tough. But that's a situation where, there's a more likeliness of a deal being done in terms of trades and fits. Portland want help. They want help for Dame big time. They've got the third pick. They're dangling that together with Anthony Simons. So, Jeremy Grant, I think I would lean towards him wanting to choose a different situation. Could Portland decide to go all in and spend that money on him? Doesn't make any sense because they weren't close enough. So they need real help. Sign me up for Jules for Grant, sign and trade depending on the contract. Okay, yeah, I could understand that. I think Grant's ability to stay healthy also stretch the floor. Julius's deal is very cost friendly, but of course we know some of the well documented thoughts and concerns about Julius long term. Again, this show's kind of CAA themed. I think the Knicks have got Julius Randle's back, I think, for at least another season. Reports Julius had surgery, arthroscopic surgery, that lets us know how serious the ankle was. It's kind of, my thoughts are not just playoff related on Julius, it's fit related. We need more floor spacing. With Mitch, Jules, and RJ on the floor, I don't see a championship in that horizon. I'm not here to throw shade on any player in that situation. It's about fit. Something's got to give with that. But I think the club's still got Julius's back for another year. But would I be shocked in a bigger blockbuster or a trade deadline next off season? I won't. I won't be. I just think given the season we had, second round exit in 6 games, pushing the Miami Heat all the way, the ankle concern, there's just enough to feel good about for this ball club to bring Julius back in the off season from their perspective. That's not necessarily my perspective. I'm just trying to foreshadow the way they're looking at it. For me, if I could find a better fit in terms of a floor spacer kind of guy, a role-playing guy who shares the ball that can open up the floor for RJ and Brunson, I would very heavily look into it. But there's not a lot of power forwards available at this point, and maybe the 5 spot or the 3 spot is that situation we need to look at further. But yeah, Jeremy Grant, I like his game. He's durable, he's mobile, hybrid guy as well. I think gives better effort defensively. But not a name that sets my world on fire kind of thing, I mean, it's not too different to what we've got, really. In terms of result, we're trying to go further than the second round. We're trying to go to the ECF. We're trying to win 16 playoff games in 4 rounds to break the championship drought. But look, if Portland really, really like Randle, if Randle is a name Portland like, let's say they exhaust all their options and they say, hey, look, is Julius available? Let's sort something out with a deal. What do you guys think about Jeremy Grant? I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't think it's likely. Buzzer says I don't want Grant either. Most power forwards are switchable nowadays, at least check centers. Some can defend small forwards. Yep. That's why I like Jericho quite a lot as a player to develop a sneaky fit. So you guys tell me the likeliness as well. If you share my thoughts and you agree. But yeah, Jeremy Grant is a guy who could fit, but I just don't see a deal happening with Julius here. Now, Karis LeVert, a CAA client, I wasn't impressed with him in the playoffs. He did have a couple of great games. High usage guy off the bench. We kind of have those. We have Quickley. We have Hart. We have RJ who plays a lot with the bench unit. Would I waste the mid-level on Karis LeVert? I think we can find better fits. I think I would even prefer to split the 12 milli mid-level and split that into two shooters as opposed to signing a Karis LeVert. But he's a big name and he's very available, as you see on the screen. LeVert is unrestricted free agent, right, with bird rights to Cleveland. But look at the salary. Given the fact that Cleveland flamed out, do they want to reinvest that money in Karis? I would say it's 50-50, touch and go. But yeah, Karis LeVert ain't a name I'm really, really high on. But he is a CAA client. So if we do hear his name, you know why. The next guy's name is ringing a lot of bells for me. Gary Trent Jr., right? There's a lot of things I'm really interested in with Gary Trent. And the main thing is the ability to sink shots, right? Whether it's low volume, high volume, he is a pure shooter. And that's where we're getting into the realm of what this team really, really needs. If we're not blowing it up, we're not making major moves, a guy like Gary Trent makes a ton of sense for me personally. Player option, let's see, does he decline? 17 milli. Let's see, I would re-sign him. I would even do a trade if Toronto were interested, trading one of those protected picks in the future. A guy like Gary Trent is a guy you're not going to leave open, right? He's a real floor spacer, a defender has to stick to like glue, right? In a playoff situation, we need big shot takers and makers, guys that are not afraid, guys that have got no conscience, and guys that are pure shooters as well. So that's why I like me a Gary Trent. What do you guys think about a Gary Trent, man? Is that a name that excites you? Again, player option. I could see him decline. So it's interesting. They didn't trade him at the deadline. They're running that risk. Talk about guy with size, and we don't just need a shot taker. We need a maker. Buzzer wants a Gary Trent RJ straight up, man. Very high on Gary. Yep. Kuz, Tatum, Gordon, Tucker, Draymond. Yep. Yeah, in that situation, going back and forth with Sherwin. David says Norm Powell. Yep. Knicks need reliable three-point shooting. Powell's another good name we'll talk about when we get down the list. But Gary Trent, for me, is in that similar mold. Very, very reliable. You leave him open, he's going to hit it. Basically, those guys that are automatic, right? If there's no one within, meters of Gary Trent and he catches the ball, he's going to let it fly, and it's probably automatic. So, yeah. But the cost, that's a situation where it's going to cost. We might have to move on from a guy. Now, the next guy is very, very connected to CAA. The Knicks have had interest in the past. none other than Malik Beasley. Now he has the club option. Um, Now the Knicks have been interested. He's gone back since the Minnesota days. Tom Thibodeau. Um, Obviously the CAA connections too. So we're getting really warm if we hear a Malik Beasley's name attached to the New York Knicks this offseason. Like, leaving aside a blockbuster move, a Malik Beasley could be a guy that the Knicks look at to bolster their squad, their depth, their scoring off the bench, um, kind of situation. Now, a lot of fans say, where are the minutes going to come from? Well, that's true, you know, but again, Deuce McBride was the 10th guy in the rotation. Does Deuce McBride go back to a more situational role? Quite possibly. Um, we saw injury concerns in the playoffs. We need that depth still coming back. We're going to get into the Emmanuel Quickley talk. I really think that there's a lot of smoke with that situation. I think the club knows what's coming. They're very, very well prepared. Um, they love Emmanuel Quickley. If they can get a solid deal where they can get ample value back, another solid rotation player, talking to Emmanuel, there could be a world where they make that move. I think Obi's more likely this offseason. I could see them re-signing Quick and keeping him for another year, another run. But it all depends on what's out there. The Knicks are not going to be shy to make that move if they like what's out there. If they don't like what's out there, they're going to stay patient, I think, and that involves Emmanuel with that. But yeah, it's a valid question. Where are minutes going to come from if we're adding these bench pieces, these mid levels? It's kind of like we could foreshadow a 2-for-1 trade, where we bring in one guy and we send out 2 or 3 guys to, to open up more roster spots as well. But a Gary Trent, Malik Beasley for me make a lot of sense. Derrick Rose, we know, our very own, is a club option. They're going to decline. Well, it's actually it's expiring, I believe. So yeah, they're going to decline that. They're going to decline that option, 100%. With that said, with that money, they're obviously going to use a lot of that to up Josh Hart. With Josh Hart, it may not be a contract that kicks in straight away. It could be an extension. So we keep Josh Hart. He opts in to that final year at, I think, what is it, 12 mil, and then we keep him on that salary for another year, and then the extension for Josh Hart can kick in. So that could save the Knicks some money as well. So look out, not necessarily for Josh Hart to decline his player option. He might opt in, but the Knicks agree to an extension. But a lot of that money freed up by Derrick Rose is going to help. Now, Derrick Rose, I could see a world where he's back on the bench, still as a veteran minimum kind of guy, but then I won't be shocked if he chases a ring also. So that's D Rose. Now, Will Barton, ladies and gentlemen, he is a CAA client, unrestricted free agent. He does make some sense if we're needing some shooting, ball handling, scoring off the bench. But we have a lot of those spots filled at this point. We got Quickley right now. We got Josh Hart as well. But yeah, he's a name to look out for, CAA repped as well. Unrestricted free agent. Now, Christian Wood is a fit in terms of unrestricted free agent, a big man that can shoot, can stretch it, can block some shots. The salary issue is the main hold up for me, and spots, unless we're moving on from Mitch, unless we're trading a Randle, Christian Wood is not going to fit at this point. We're not going to spend a lot of money on C Wood for a limited role, fam. So yeah, we continue down the list, fam. Yeah, Mike, we will talk about Strauss. We will talk about Seth Curry, 100%. Good names as well. Once we're done with the free agent tracking, I'm going to be talking about some of those value signings for the mid-level that I think the Knicks should definitely go after. this show's not going to be about speculating major trades and blockbuster moves because it's all speculation at this point. We've not heard a report yet from one of the big guys, from Woj, Shams, Begley, Popper, um, of course, Fred Katz, Bondi, anyone attached to the Knicks nationally. We've heard rumors about, Knicks interest, but we've not really heard discussions or anything like that. All indications point to the Knicks are going to be patient. I think they're going to wait either next off-season trade deadline or for a player to hit free agency. Now, trades for IQ, Obi, Mitch, more likely for me, and then, maybe a Zach LaVine move, in the starting unit. But again, it's all speculation. We're just going to have to wait. We're only weeks away from finding that out. So I'm looking at what we know as facts right now. We know CAA connections. We know how much money the Knicks are going to have to spend. And right now we know which players are going to hit free agency and whether there's mutual interest. Those are the kinds of things that we can kind of connect the dots now. So yeah, appreciate everyone rocking out, man. The best chat in the biz. Let's get it. The fan base is hungry. Right, we're making strides. Second round of the playoffs, big year it was. Every day I think about it, how successful the year was. In terms of now we're seeing the Heat, battle it out for the championship. We know how close the Knicks were there. Jalen Brunson was every bit the superstar, the star that we needed, and now we've got great options and situation to build with this squad. Yeah, continue talking about fits and players you like. Appreciate it. Brook Lopez. Now talk about another guy that really fits if we're looking for an overhaul. If we have made a big trade and we've moved on from Mitch in another deal, then a Brook Lopez makes a lot of sense. Let me get that back down on the screen, man. Brook Lopez, yeah, completely unrestricted, right? So he's going to be able to choose his destination. So that's where I'm really looking at players that can decide where they would like to go. The Knicks now would be, I would say, more attractive around the league. I would estimate Brook would be very interested in going back to Milwaukee. I mean, why wouldn't he? They're a great team. Giannis in his prime, contention. But again, dollars got to make sense. Now, Brook is heading towards the end of his career, still performing at a reasonably high level, has a niche skill set that a lot of clubs want. He's going to be in demand. So, he might be able to max out, not max out in terms of salary, but maximize his earning capacity and also find himself on a 2 or 3 year guarantee. Milwaukee, small market team, do they go over the cap or, going deep into the tax to keep him is going to be interesting. I would love a Brook Lopez for a couple of years. Let's see. Fits really well. We need stretch shooting at the 5. We need guys that can block shots, rebound really well. Just got to admire Brook's skill set. What he's done. What's good, Illmatics? Yep, hitting on Miami, 100%. Yep, guys that buy in know their role. Yep, I love it. Talk about the NBA don't need 400 superstars. We need guys that are stars in their role. Yep, it's a team ball, team sport. Buzzer says, will we see Randle play better on D now that his ankle is repaired? Yeah, I won't necessarily say better. I would say it's all about effort for Julius. And yeah, when he's healthier, he could give more effort. But one thing I want Tibbs to be smart with, and what you hit on, man, is minutes with Randle. Like we've proven now we can be a 5th, 4th, 3rd seed with this squad, even without any upgrades this off season. Now, what does that tell me? That tells me we don't need to play Julius 42 minutes a night. We have Jalen Brunson, we have help. RJ Barrett's young. Just do the right thing in terms of when we're up 13 points with 3 minutes remaining, get Julius out of the game. And that's something that Tom Thibodeau was not doing and does need to do, right? We're playing with guys' health right now. We're playing with their futures, right? That ankle injury in part was due to Tom Thibodeau, in the exhaustion of playing Juju, I know he, says, oh, Juju wanted to play, well, you're the coach. I don't care what the player wants. Get him out of the ball game. So that's, something Tibbs has got to do, man. But yeah, I expect Randle's effort to, be there when he's healthy. But the playoffs is a concern with the shooting, with the decision making. With Jules's ability to make the right read. The issue I have with Tom Thibodeau in this squad is they're not high IQ players outside of Brunson. Um, you know, it's a whole. There's layers to it, right? So people say Tom Thibodeau, he's a very plain offensive coach, right? Not many wrinkles, very simple. Pass the ball, trust the pass, make the read. That works, right? If you've got a talented team, that system can work, right? But do you have the personnel? Do you have the players that make the right reads when the pressure is the highest? Questionable shot selection against Miami for Julius. Um, and I'm always I sound like a broken record, but I would love players to focus on passing the ball more too, right? Julius could influence the game so much just by focusing on facilitating. He draws the double. To me, in the playoffs with Julius, it's not all about scoring. If the shot's not falling, get 10 assists, get 12 assists, find your teammates. Mitch missed the ball quite a few times as well, lost the ball. But yeah, Julius Randle does rifle those passes sometimes too much. He jumps in the air, and then he just boneheaded turnovers as well. So if Julius can clean that up, be more willing facilitator, can defend better in the playoffs, healthier, then we have a chance. But long term, the fit for me is still questionable. With Mitch, Randle, and RJ, I think you need more floor spacing. But let's keep building. Let's go. The bench is a big key. The Knicks have got some money to spend. I like Brook Lopez. Now, next guy, quite poignant right now, man. Kyle Kuz. Player option, bird rights held by Washington. He's going to want the payday. That's the trouble. I like Kyle Kuzma, but we cannot absorb his salary without sending somebody out. What would you guys think? A Kyle Kuzma for a Randle and pieces, Kyle and pieces for Randle, Kyle and RJ with pieces involved. Kyle Kuzma is very talented. I like his game. Again, it's a mixed bag with him. I'm looking for guys that are sure things. He's up, he's down, he's inconsistent, and again, we don't watch every Washington game, so you got to look at how did the team that said player was on, and how did they perform while that player was on the court. Kyle Kuzma, young, can stretch the floor, is talented. But again, we were the 5th seed. We're good with RJ. We're good with Randle right now. But CAA connections all day, every day. So won't be surprised if the Knicks are interested. I just don't see a fit. I don't see it eventuating, I'm saying. On that, Buzzer says, no Kuz, but I think his career in Washington was a fluke. It was big numbers on a bad team. Yep, that's valid. Yep, you said it. Is he going to be able to buy into a role where he's the 3rd or 4th option? Because remember, all this goes back to I'm trying to win a championship. I'm not trying to make the 3rd round. I'm trying to build a squad that can get us to that next level. But yeah, he's got a skill set. The money needs to make sense to Fam. I think RJ Barrett's contract is quite friendly with big upside. Julius Randle's contract's one of the best in the NBA still. taking all the playoff-ish aside, is still a very good uh, contract. Yet you don't trust him, basically. Dirty says, I don't love Kuz, but he did help the Lakers win a chip. Yeah, interesting time of his career right now where I think he's looking to take on a bigger load. Pause. But yeah, I think he's trying to, contribute more to winning. I don't see him coming back to Washington, to be honest. I think all signs point to Michael Winger and the Wiz making, upheaval. So yeah, he's going to be a big name. He's a big name available. CAA client. Again, I won't be surprised if the Knicks are involved or attached. Yeah, I just don't see them moving off a Randle so soon after this year, unless it's a huge deal. A Randle kind of Kuz deal involving other pieces. To me, it's like it's sideways. We've heard these beat writers, man, they're connected. They always tell us the next move is gonna be the move to help make a huge upgrade. Is Kyle Kuzma a huge upgrade? He's an upgrade, possibly. I don't think he's a huge upgrade. So yeah, let's keep an eye out on it though, fam. What else we got? We got JC, former six man of the year, Jordan Clarkson, player option, right? 12 milli, Utah, right? Utah's kind of rebuilding, but I could see them wanting, his veteran experience, his savviness to stick around. But he's going to be a hot commodity, proven playoff player, proven lightning, scorer, proven guy who can start, back up, could do a lot of things. So yeah, I think Jordan Clarkson could be a name to look out for. He's probably going to command 15 mil plus, maybe 18 mil plus. I think, we balk at the numbers Josh Hart's going to get. I mean, think about it. If Josh Hart is in line to get 18, 17, surely Jordan Clarkson is worth that too. He's a much better scorer, talented offensive player as well. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on JC. Outcome wise, I won't be shocked if he gets out of Utah because we know where they're trying to go. Maybe JC's in a point where he wants to try to win. Interestingly, with him, he's attached to FIBA. We will see Clarkson play for the Philippines in the World Cup as well. So all eyes are going to be on him. Next up, our buddy, our guy, Josh Hart, all over the news right now. I tweeted out, man, his stock has gone up in terms of PR profile since coming to the Knicks. Josh Hart is going to be a New York Knick. It's a done deal. He loves it here. We love him. He ain't going nowhere. Struggles in the playoffs at times, but I think he's going to learn. Let's not underestimate the fact that this was Josh Hart's first playoff rodeo. He's going to be better. Players are going to be better for the experience. They're going to be more in sync. The shooting is still that question mark, but I think he can come back and make quicker decisions with the ball. He's great for us in transition. Great defensively, versatile. I know people have an issue with the number, but for me, players are worth it if they can defend multiple positions. They can be on the floor late in a ball game, high stakes ball game, playoffs. If they're a budding and willing teammate, can buy into a role, be a star in their role, can lift guys up, an extension of the coach, all of those things. Dogged defender. I just think, yeah, it's kind of like a John Starks. We know, for us old heads, we know John Starks had, limitations, but he's that kind of guy where we live with those limitations, man. And he's just a New York Knick. We just got to live with it, fit him in. But Tibbs does need to use him more correctly. Come correct with Josh Hart. No 38 minutes. Resist the temptation, man. Buzzer salute. Buzzer says, take this dollar and kick a kangaroo in his butt. Go Knicks. Salute, man. Let's get it. Yep. We kicking lots of butt. Best believe that, man. Yeah, while we're on Josh Hart, you guys all know, I know most of your thoughts, but like, now that we've had time to reflect on his season, the playoffs, half a season he was a Knick. How are you feeling now coming back, with a whole season with the Josh Hart? The camaraderie, the connection with Jalen Brunson is important too. We need guys that get along, guys that are, able to step up. Offensive rebounding is big. That's the way Tibbs loves to play. If we can't shoot well, we need to pull in the rebounds, second chance points, all of that. And I mentioned earlier the fact that D Rose salary is coming off just makes way for that Josh Hart signing. Again, I just think it comes back to his usage. Tom Thibodeau has got to use him in the right spots. Don't even necessarily have to play him to finish the game all the time. If RJ has it going, Quickley has it going, I don't mind having a lineup of Brunson, Quickley, RJ, or Grimes, of course, fits in as well. So there's options. Quickley's an amazing rebounder for a 6'3" guard as well. Uh, Quentin Grimes can pull in rebounds also. So I think Tibbs just got to resist the temptation to play Josh Hart all the time closing the game. And I think we'll be okay. Case in point, Game 6 in Miami. If Josh Hart was on the bench, Emmanuel Quickley was healthy and standing where Josh Hart was on the court, Jalen Brunson 100% passes him the ball. So, mistake by Tibbs in that situation ultimately. But I think, Grimes should have been in that position. Yeah, D Rose, I think we'll stick around as a Knick. Talk about heat culture, Knick culture with D Rose, Tibbs hanging around, man. What do you think of that? Do you think D Rose could stick as the veteran minimum and then work his way to being that Udonis Haslem kind of dude, in the player's ear, in Tibbs's ear, and and keeping that harmony? I think that's something worthwhile. If Rose is open to that, yep, yeah, give it up for Starks, man. One of my favorite Knicks of all time. Wore his heart on his sleeve, played like it, all of those things. Yeah, yeah. Maybe we do move Tibbs eventually into the front office too, because given Tibbs's connections, we know CAA. Let's face it, once Tibbs is done coaching this team, if Leon is still the pres, I think Tibbs is still going to be upstairs in a consultant exec role, something like that. Player personnel, even scouting. I mean, however people feel about Tibbs's coaching, I think he'd be a very, very worthwhile player scout. He scouted Quentin Grimes. That was a hit, I think Tom Thibodeau took one look at Emmanuel Quickley. That was a hit. Yeah, Tibbs is a player scout, coach, executive. Fabian says that Quickley will be traded by the trade deadline. Yeah, I think it's very likely. The salary, again, the money, the business side of things gets in the way. We love IQ, the guy. But I would love the Knicks to express patience. We're not. I think we're not in any kind of desperation with IQ, fam. With that, let me just get this thing reloaded. Yep, looks like we're good. Yeah, love the conversation, the buzz. Keep it coming. Dirty says don't like wasting roster spots. Yep. Who's going to replace Scott Perry? I gotta say it's probably gonna be Gerson Rosas. Yeah, like Dirty hit on as well. Yeah, guys that know each other already. Gerson was already negotiating some of the trades too. Um, so where were we up to? Yeah, we hit on Hart now. Kelly Oubre, man, the hits keep coming. With Oubre, he's always wanted to be a Knick. Uh, I don't know if Tibbs has any kind of interest in him. Uh, I think where he's at in his career for what we have with Grimes, we have Josh Hart, we're paying. Again, it's kind of a double up. I know he offers a different skill set, but in terms of money spent, Kelly Oubre, we've got Grimes, we're going to have to pay him soon. And of course, we're paying Hart. But, a year ago, 2 years ago, Kelly Oubre was a fit. Now, Josh Richardson, unrestricted free agent, earning 12 mil, mid-level. What do you guys think? Is he a worthy mid-level consideration? I know fans got a lot of other names we're going to hit on after this once we're done, but Josh Richardson, I like the fact that he can handle the rock, shot create, um, experience as well. But there's better names for me for the mid-level. Dylan Brooks, I think he's going to find himself on a team like probably Minnesota, Detroit, a kind of team that can live with the consequences of a Dylan Brooks. Dwight Powell's an interesting name, a big man who can rebound, can stretch the floor a little. Our guy, Bill Daughtry, mentioned him as well. I just don't see the Knicks spending mid-level on another big, but if, like I said, if a trade takes place and there's a roster spot needed, a backup 4 or 5, Dwight Powell's name is interesting for me. Yeah, again, it depends on what he's trying to command. It's funny with the cap going up. Some of these players are feeling like they're worth more than what they're worth, and it's going to come down to demand. THT has the player option. Utah, we do have that kind of combo guard with Quickley already. You see a guy in the playoffs that's a needle mover. Again, we're not trying to go sideways. We're not trying to replace guys who produce with the guys who we don't know if they're going to produce. So, THT, I like this game, but I think Quickley is a better fit for us. Fabian can see Brooks in Utah. Yeah. Coach says China, probably, yeah, maybe in this year or next year. One thing's for sure, man, these clubs aren't taking no BS. I think there's enough. You could be that enforcer dog and still be in the league, but if you cross that line, ain't no one gonna want to deal with that. Yeah, so THT, our good old buddy friend Alec Burks. Now that's a better fit for the mid-level. Alec Burks, right? Yep. The thing is, the club got the option. It looks like on this situation. So, does Detroit decline the club option? 10 milli, trade candidate also. So, yeah, I could see an Alec Burks coming back. What do we know from recent sample size is that the club loves connections. It takes the guesswork away. We know what Alec Burks is about. We know his strengths. We know what we needed in the playoffs. We kind of know what his value is going to be in terms of what it's going to cost to sign him. He's not going to demand 20 mil, So for that range, maybe we could split Alec Burks, sign him for 8 mil, use the remaining for Paddy Mills, a Seth Curry, Torrey Craig. Yeah, kind of try to maximize the spending we have with that. Yeah, but yeah, Alec Burks, the biggest skill set he provides that we need, fam, is spot up shooting off the dribble. had a great couple games against Atlanta in the playoffs 2 years ago. 40% shooter, can, like I said, pull up, can dribble, can play make. And we know in the situation against the Heat, late in that second quarter when the run was happening, we needed a guy who could steady the flow, hit a shot, dribble the ball up, back his man down. He's a beast, Alec Burks, really, for that kind of role. He's a beast in his role. So I like that fit. I know it's not a sexy name. I know it's not like, people looking for that big splash, but he really is going to complement what we got. He's going to help. Um, like I said, late in the game, if you want to double Randle, you want to throw a blitz at Brunson, who better to throw the rock at than Alec Burks to spot up and hit a big shot. Uh, yeah, I don't mind that fit. I like a DiVincenzo above him, uh, like Coach says. But yeah, Alec Burks is that name to look out for. Don't be surprised because of that connection, in the past as well. We know Tom Thibodeau ran him into the ground, as the point guard. So, Tibbs loves him. Yep. Buzzer says as well, could see him coming back, fam. What do you guys think? Alec Burks reunion. I don't know if it's going to be high on their list, but he's going to be somewhere there in conversations. Jay Crowder, look, I mean, talk about a guy who's polarized around the league. Was supposed to be a major pickup for Milwaukee, but Jay Crowder did not even see any burn. Budenholzer paid the price. Wasn't flexible enough, wasn't adaptive. I don't know. Jay Crowder seems to be more of a bull in a china shop kind of situation. I don't know if he's going to fit into this locker room is one big thing. Uh, I mean, skill set wise, he's versatile. He's versatile, but I don't see a fit at this point. I don't see a fit from the Knicks' perspective. Sherwin says, "I want Burks back with a trade for the trade for IQ as well." Buzz is asking about the official team captain. It's got to be, I would say Brunson and Randle in a way. I would say Brunson's our real captain, but we hear Papa say that Randle is also looked at, as a big voice in the locker room as well. So co-captain, captain, I would say it's Brunson 100%. And I would say he's going to grow into that role even more. I think Brunson's going to be more vocal, outspoken next season. In his first year, he didn't want to come in and, be that bully and shake things up so much. But I think he's earned that respect now. In the second year, Brunson's going to be dishing out some real orders, I think, on the floor. Especially if Tom Thibodeau gives him that faith. So yeah, Crowder, we have Oladipo, injury prone, not a fit. Now Adario Saric, fascinating as a backup. The more I think about him, comes down to what he's going to, fetch. But unrestricted, could be a mid-level, part of a mid-level kind of signing. Let's say he takes a discount, wants to get back into the league, get a bigger role, kind of out of sight, out of mind with Saric at the moment with OKC. But, he might want to play for a team that can go deep in the playoffs, be a valuable contributor. Yeah, I could see a Saric kind of play. Again, can back up, can stretch it. That's probably if Obi's out of here as well, which I expect Obi to be traded with the CAA connections there to Indiana, like we touched on at the beginning of the show. Jakob Poeltl was a big trade for Toronto. I think they're going to try to retain him as well. I think Jakob is a guy who they're going to try to keep. Definitely, they made that trade. It didn't kind of make a lot of sense because they didn't want to sell pieces. They tried to contend, make the play-in playoffs, and it didn't work. So, but I guess it depends. I don't see Toronto. My thoughts are, I don't see them blowing it all up, but I kind of see them making a retool. You know, they'll probably trade Fred VanVleet, probably Gary Trent, maybe one of Siakam and OG, but they'll keep one of the other, and they'll keep Scotty Barnes, and then they'll try to retool. I think so. Yeah, I think that's my thoughts on Toronto. I don't see Masai Ujiri kind of just completely detonating that place and blowing it up, but I could see him making, considerable moves because they've got a lot of pieces that are in demand. They need to reshuffle some of that, uh, build around Scotty, build around Siakam or OG. I think it's most likely Siakam that they'll keep. OG is that kind of guy. I think that wants a bigger time role offensively. Great question, man. Fournier is going to definitely be in that trade if we make it because of the salary. His expiring salary next off season is going to be enticing, but his 18 mil is needed to match the salary in the trade right now because we've got a lot of young rookies and a lot of pieces that don't earn a lot. So if RJ is in a trade, I don't think Fournier is going to be in that trade because then that's $40 million. But if RJ is not in a trade, and let's say it's Obi, Quickley, Grimes, or someone, even Mitch, then I could see Fournier having to be in that trade. But look out for them to possibly keep Fournier just because of what I said. The salary is expiring next off season, and it's going to be needed to make a trade work. And it's of no consequence to the other team because even though he's not playing, the money is coming off as well. So, yeah, Pirtle, Mason Plumlee. So he's interesting, but we don't really have any need for a big man. Now, Seth Curry, we definitely have a need for him all day, every day. He's a major target for me. Sign me up. Again, with Gary Trent, with Torrey Craig, Seth Curry is a major target for me. Again, he's a guy who is automatic, basically. He's been killing the Knicks for a minute. He's a role guy. He's not going to, take over games and, take over the offense, but he's going to catch and shoot. He's going to get hot. Maybe in a quarter in a playoff game, he's going to hit 3 back-to-back threes and stem the tide, get the Knicks a lead, finished games out, all of those good things, man. Veteran, role player, unrestricted free agent. I fully expect him to leave Brooklyn. Brooklyn's rebuilding. I don't think Brooklyn's going to need to spend that kind of money. They don't need that right now. So Seth Curry made 8 mil. I could see him definitely wanting a bigger role with the Knicks off the bench. 12 mil, mid-level, less than that ideally. Seth Curry is a guy who can space the floor and dribble the ball as well. So you guys let me know, where does Seth Curry sit for you in terms of interest? Talking about the mid-level, it's about $12 million, just so you guys know, if you don't already. But 12 mil is that key number for the mid-level exception. Now we could split it. We could use that to sign multiple years. We could split the money, I believe, in terms of 2 pieces if we need. But I expect the Knicks to probably use it on one guy. Alec Burks, Torrey Craig, DiVincenzo, Seth Curry. Again, someone like that. Now, apprehension to signing Curry, I could see, maybe you could say the Knicks need size. Yeah, we need shooting, but we got RJ, we got Quickley, we got Josh Hart we're paying, we got Grimes. Why are we going to sign another smaller guard? I could understand that. We need wing help, we need scoring, but we need shooting with size as well. Curry does not have size, and he's not a defender either. So, Dirty says unless it's the minimum as well, too old. Yep. Buzzer hits that he's Fournier, but just younger and more mobile. Yep. So you guys okay with us proceeding without Curry, but in the playoffs, like I said, if Grimes and Quickley were healthy on the floor, I think, yeah, we needed their floor spacing late. I think if you look at also what Tom Thibodeau wants, I think we keep going back to Tibbs. He's going to play a big role in players he likes, and Seth doesn't rebound, he doesn't defend either as well. So to spend $12 million on a very versatile, but not a versatile guy, is a deal breaker as well. Now Bruce Brown, man, he is lighting things up with Denver now. Player option, he's gonna opt out. It was a value signing. Salute to them, man. 6.6 mil, right? Brooklyn lost that out. Versatile, can score, good size, good wing. Best believe if Denver look like they're going to win the championship, Bruce Brown's sticking around, ladies and gentlemen. Great pickup. That's the kind of pickups that the Knicks needed to get. Obviously, we found a good pickup with Josh Hart, but right at the tail end of his good play, where he needs to get paid right now. But yeah, we're not going to be in play for Bruce Brown. I don't feel he's gonna stick around. Gallo, our good friend, also on a player option. I could see him opting in as well. I could see him opting out. It's sort of up and down. Too old, too injury prone for me, for Gallo. I know he can play backup four. He could stretch it, but he's just too injured, man. Another sort of situation with Joe Ingles, like 2 years ago, great fit for Joe Ingles for this club, but Joe Ingles wasn't a factor with Milwaukee. Injury prone, injury concerns as well. But hey, veteran minimum, no risk involved. Veteran minimum, absolutely. But no other instance. If you're not talking to me about veteran minimum, then no need for Joe Ingles. Would not spend any cap space on him. But again, a backup in case of injury, all those kinds of things. Yeah, he's valuable in terms of experienced, can shoot, can dribble, can play make as well. We can't rely on him. We can't afford to pay him with cap space. Now, Lonnie Walker is an unrestricted fully. I expect him to probably stay in LA. It looks like they're trying to keep some sort of core pieces intact. But again, not a great fit for the Knicks with the money we're already spending. Rudy Gay, too old for me. Yeah, not gonna get minutes. Hamidou Diallo, I mean, kind of that boat sailed maybe 2 years ago again. Jackson Hayes, a restricted free agent, is worth noting as well, with a salary of $5 million. A lot of talent, but a lot of issues with Jackson Hayes. Intriguing upside. Kendrick, again, no. A few years ago. Rui, restricted. Looks like the Lakers will pick that up. We get to Corey Joseph, no need. But Torrey Craig, the name we keep mentioning, is repped by CAA. Aaron Mintz, again, basically Leon Rose's former right-hand man. Julius Randle's agent. Josh Hart's agent as well. So, again, fam, like CAA, right? This show is all about the connections, right? The Knicks will do business with people they've done business with, they're comfortable with. What do I mean by that? Let's say we're about to pay Josh Hart, right? When Leon Rose is talking to his guy, Aaron Mintz, he's like, Aaron, we know Josh Hart's coming back. We know Josh Hart wants to come back. We know you want Josh Hart to sign with us, right? Can we extend this business? And we like a guy like a Torrey Craig, right? let's say we were to give Torrey Craig some bread. Could you help us get a discount with Josh Hart, or vice versa? If we pay Josh Hart handsomely, can we get a friendly deal for a Torrey Craig? Those are the kinds of things that happen in this industry, fam. Best believe that. You got Aaron Mintz representing both players. Torrey Craig is a fit off the bench, a player that Tibbs would love. Got size, wing defender, takes the pressure off of RJ and Grimes. Can allow you to play Josh Hart at the 2 if needed. Yeah, depends what happens. Buzzer says Josh Hart is our Torrey Craig. Basically, in a nutshell, I think minus the extra size. But if we're looking to add, use our mid-level part of that and to add more depth defensively. Yep. Mega talking about salute the big trade today. Denver trading their 29th first pick for OKC's 37th pick this year. Yep. They're trying to get help, a cheaper help this year as well. I think that's a fairly smart play. Like, when you're in championship contention, you need cost-friendly talent, especially if you're going to lose a Bruce Brown or you're going to lose some talent like Dirty hits on as well. There's a price to pay for being successful, unfortunately, and that's what's happening with the new salary cap change also. So it's frustrating, but it's also that mindset where you've got to be thinking about the future. I know fans love Obi, they love Quickley, RJ. Nothing against anyone's opinions. We shout everyone out, but if you're looking at this scope from a business perspective, the executives of this club have got to keep thinking about what's going to happen. You've got to foreshadow moves to come. So, yeah, that's a little bit of thoughts about Torrey Craig. Our old friend Cam Reddish isn't going to come back with Tibbs here. Now, a Cam Johnson is interesting. Restricted though. So I would expect Brooklyn to keep him around or sign and trade. Quite possibly. They don't want to lose him for nothing. Yeah. What's good buzzer? Cam Johnson, I like. He's long, he can play the 3 and he can shoot from the perimeter. I like him, he fits. I don't see a deal kind of working out though in terms of money-wise, unless it's a trade. Brooklyn and Knicks doing a trade, very unlikely. Also, Julius Randle and Cam Johnson got into it as well. So maybe they have some concerns with the locker room with that. But yeah, great shooter, great size, great fit. I just think it's unlikely. What is more likely is a Dante DiVincenzo player option. Golden State's not going to be able to pay him. Right, he's definitely going to opt out. So that's definite. He's going to want a long-term deal, sign up, more money, maybe a bigger role. Dante DiVincenzo, I like. We've got to spend the mid-level some way, but again, is he like we're paying Josh Hart, we're paying RJ, we're trying to keep Quickley around most likely. Where do you guys see Dante DiVincenzo fitting in? Again, maybe they're trying to pull off that trade for Spider Mitchell in the next 12 months, 18 months as well. So he's a nice name. I would welcome him on this team. I'm just trying to think of it. Is it likely? I haven't heard any link yet, any kind of interest, but we will no doubt in the next few weeks. So I like Dante, the player, and I would certainly feel like Tibbs could find use for him. Tibbs could find ways to make him, help this club. But there's going to be a lot of other teams, I think, interested in a guy like him. Dirty says he fits like a glove as long as he can stay healthy. That's always been his problem. Yeah, better offense than Josh Hart, more versatile, that's for sure. Also a great point, a Villanova dog as well. So yeah, that's a big connection also. I mean, not as big as the CAA side, but you hit, um, yeah, you hit with that. So yeah, if Dante's looking for a team that's still competing, a team that can meet his salary demand, mid-level, guarantee him 20 minutes off the bench, a kind of a role that he's comfortable with. He might like a coach like Tibbs, like a similar mold, Jay Wright. Um, Having Brunson and having Hart here is going to help a lot. Like that's big. So yeah, great point, fam. Um, yep, we know Mikal Bridges is not likely. So if we could link up Dante with Brunson and Hart would be something, man. That'd be crazy. Uh, what's good, Big L? 10 mil for CP3. Talking that would be a large chunk of our mid level. Um, I would love a CP3 coming off the bench. I could only see it happening, I think, if IQ probably gets traded. Let's see. Phoenix are very, very interested in IQ. CP3 health concerns. How's Tom Thibodeau going to utilize him, in terms of minutes? CP3 fit for the playoffs is no doubt an X factor, uh, huge play for this club to help win playoff games. He can hit the mid-level, a mid-range. He can get people organized, a floor general, all of that. I just feel like CP3 should have been a Knick a long time ago. But I think it's very likely he goes to LA or back to Phoenix. I think. I mean, with a team like Booker and KD, what better situation is there to go to for CP3? Uh, I know he was talking about MSG. He was saying at some point he would love to experience Madison Square Garden and what that would be like with the Knicks. Good. Leon Rose, of course, we need to say he's a CAA client, former client of Leon Rose also. So again, won't be shocked if we pull that off. But I think he's looking at bigger contenders. I think with CP. But yeah, DiVincenzo, very 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 hot target, likely to be in discussions with the mid level. What else we got? Uncle Jeff. I would say he'd probably stay in Denver. It looks like let's keep it a buck. They're probably going to win the championship. Why would you want to leave a team that wins the championship? Langford, don't see a fit with Tibbs here with minutes. Winslow, bit washed. Terrence Davis, don't see minutes. Yeah. Again, we're not yet speculating on bigger trades because we just don't know yet. We're trying to see if players can fit the mid-level and what we have going right now in terms of maybe if there was a bigger trade. See a Portland situation with a Matisse Thybulle, backup wing, defensively would help. Offensively would create more issues with spacing. Andre Drummond as well. We need more offense from a big man, so I don't see that playing out. Now, a Mikey Muscala, George's Niang, I would put them a tier below DiVincenzo, but possible options for a mid-level. I've always liked Muscala being 6'11", 6'10", can really stroke it, but on the older side, for some reason, couldn't get minutes with OKC much, with Boston. Mikey Muscala, don't see it likely, but Niang could be a nice fit. Versatile, 3-4, can stroke it, can provide some offense. Again, it's just a lot of concerns that Josh Hart, we're spending that kind of money on him. Why are we spending more money on a player that's kind of, similar position? Now, Niang can play a stretch 4, I believe, so that could be something different. Muscala too, but DiVincenzo, Torrey Craig, there's a bit of double up. I think we need another a smaller ball handler that can actually run an offense off the bench, can run an offense, can hit shots as well, which is why CP3, his kind of game could be very well used on this team. Quickley will be that guy if he's here, but we missed him. We missed Quick in game 4 and 6. I think if you look at how close game 4, game 6 was, I think Quickley would have just given us that extra assurance scoring. A good point here is that in terms of competitive teams, not many have the full mid-level like we do. I think we are likely to get Dante. Cap space teams will shoot higher than that. That's a lot of good points. You mentioned the Nova connection. Thibodeau, he's a Thibodeau kind of guy. But let me know, where do you see him fitting in terms of, let's say we did get DiVincenzo. Do you think a bigger future without RJ is likely? Do you think Quickley gets traded, like with DiVincenzo, with Grimes, with Hart, with RJ? It's going to be tricky. I think we could still spend $12 million on a stretch big man in other areas as well as a DiVincenzo as well. What's good, Ron? It concerns me Tibbs and the front office don't seem to be on the same page when it's coming to the roster moves. How else do you explain why he didn't want to play Fournier and Reddish? And Kemba Walker as well. Could throw Kemba Walker out there too. Yeah. There definitely is some divide. I think drafting wise, though, it seems to be also reflective that we draft guys that Tibbs will at least sign off on. A Quickley, a Grimes, a Deuce McBride was a Tibbs selection. So yeah, I think Tibbs is playing a huge part in this thing. Like Hart, yeah. I think Leon is more adaptive too, which is why Leon likes guys like Reddish. He likes guys like Fournier with kind of skill sets that fit the modern NBA. Tibbs is more of that throwback mindset. Can he defend? Can he rebound? Can he hustle? Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of voices, man. Yeah, the full mid-level is 12 mil, fam. So the Knicks are shaping up to have that full mid-level. Yep. And Jalen McDaniels is another name we will get to as we continue to work our way through this list. Keep the buzz coming, fam. So yeah, I could see Niang. Like I said, a guys that can actually play multiple positions. That's what's going to fit. I like a DiVincenzo. I just don't know if you're paying Hart. You're going to pay Grimes. RJ needs reps. I think we're okay. I think bring in a backup point guard and a stretch 4 or stretch 5. I don't know if we could get Christian Wood on a bargain, Mike Muscala, Niang. Reason being, I do think Obi's gone. I do think Obi Toppin is gone. Maybe the Chris Duarte trade happens and we don't need a DiVincenzo as well. So we do have to consider that. What do you guys think? If we make that Toppin for Duarte signing, would you still spend that money on a DiVincenzo? Matisse Thybulle is a solid defender, but doesn't fit offensively. Now I'm hearing some talk about Kevin Knox again. I mean, Alec Burks running it back makes sense. Kevin Knox, not so much. Not a Tibbs guy. A versatility, yes. Shooting, yes. Stretch 4, yes. But again, Tom Thibodeau did not like Kevin Knox. Did not want to play him. We don't want the Cam Reddish situation all over. But I like the fact that Knox can put the ball on the floor, can attack the rim, can stretch it. I would hope Kevin Knox can become a solid defender in the league, but he's too lanky. You know, his footwork, I think, is restricting Knox from being a good defender. Now, Grant Williams is a very interesting name to watch. Boston, maybe another victim of a squeeze. Grant Williams, power forward, can stretch the floor, hit the corner three. Very, very valuable for this club. Restricted free agent as well. So I don't know if Boston's going to match any offer. Let's see. You know, they're going to have to pay the Jalen Brown huge mega max, as we know. I don't even call it super max. It's mega max with that. What are you guys' thoughts on a Grant Williams name? Now, Rolo doesn't make any sense. Rebounding wise, yes, but he's a bit washed. No offense. Blake Griffin, I don't see a fit with Tibbs here. Markeith, probably going to stick with Dallas. Austin Rivers, a no. Now Taj Gibson, unrestricted free agent. Looks like Washington's going to blow it up. If Obi Toppin gets traded, Mitch gets traded, I could see Taj Gibson back again on a veteran minimum together for a last dance with D Rose, maybe. Veteran minimum, D Rose, veteran minimum, Taj Gibson. Make that run for the Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals with Tibbs. Last hurrah, I could see it. Buzzer says, hate to trade Obi. I think he was misused, underrated under Tibbs. I think, yeah, the versatility, Tibbs's philosophy just doesn't fit, you know. We need a pick and roll guy as well. They're not willing to utilize him in that way. Rendering him to be that shooter on the perimeter as well. That's not Obi's game, but he's, credit to Obi. He's adapted, he's tried his best. I just think, Obi's situation, his future, and like we went on in the first part of the show in the beginning, fam, if you're looking at who's repping Obi, it's Sam Rose, Leon Rose's son. You're going to want the best for him, to try to get paid. Remember, agents don't get paid until their client gets paid. So if you or I are repping Obi, do you really think, would we be happy? Let's keep it a buck. Let's say we weren't Knicks fans, we were just Obi's agent, and we only got paid if Obi got paid. Well, you're not going to be looking at the Knicks like, oh man, Knicks is the perfect destination. That's going to get Obi paid. That's going to get me paid. No, that's why we're talking about this today, because Leon Rose, Sam Rose, they became successful being agents. They know X's and O's, but they know dollars and cents. And it makes no sense if you or I are Obi's agent, and for him to be in New York, right? That second contract, that fat, big contract, is not coming with the New York Knicks unless a Julius Randle is traded, which is on the very, very unlikeliness. Yeah, let's get it. Keep the buzz coming. The streets is buzzing, smashing that like button. Off-season buzz. Yeah, dirty hit on Grant. Celtics would match for Grant, not worth considering. Yep. I like the fact that he can stroke it, but again, you got a cheaper option for Obi, I think, for one more year if you are keeping him. Big L says CP3 won't elevate the Lakers with 30 mil. The Lakers are in a tough spot, but they've got a lot of depth, and I think they could try to keep Rui, try to keep the core together as well. If AD can stay healthy, I think they can make another run. Yeah. Yeah, we know Sherwin's thoughts on Obi. Yeah, we talk about Taj, Beasley. Now, TJ Warren is a guy who kind of we could have needed, maybe scoring off the bench, but the funny thing is Phoenix didn't even use him enough. So that's interesting. Now, not using any of the mid-level or anything else. Maybe if we have another exception, we could sign TJ Warren, experience. If he's healthy, he could fill it up as well. Dylan Windler. Now, it makes sense for Cleveland to try to bring him back. Jermichael Green is an interesting fit. Unrestricted free agent completely, no bird rights. So it could be interesting with him. Montrez, I don't know if he's going to be a fit in the locker room. He's a guy who rebounds, hustles. I think he's a Tibbs kind of guy. So that's interesting. Trey Lyles is a guy who's versatile. Early bird rights, Sacramento, probably try to keep him. But that a lot of these teams going to have to pay. The salary is going up. These guys are going to want money. Like Dirty raised a great point. The Knicks are one of the teams that, are in good spot contention-wise, but have the full mid-level to spend. And so that's going to be telling. I think we're going to be a very, very attractive this off-season in comparison to previous years now. I think the league saw with Brunson here, and I think the way we're running things now, I think we're going to have a lot of guys be interested in coming here. Hopefully it works out where some guys take, cheaper deals or sign for the minimum for a role with us. But I think, guys like, Deuce McBride, the 10th man in the rotation, is probably a guy that might lose his spot. Let's see. Or I don't know if we just make a 2-for-1 trade. Like I said, it could be a 3-for-1 trade, trying to make a bigger upgrade to the starting unit. But Obi and IQ are the most likely trade candidates for me. Leaving out any blockbuster as well, because the LaVines, the Cats, it's a major shake-up. I think it's easier for them to trade Obi and IQ, keep it moving, run it back for another year as well. Just try to add more versatility. After Lyles, we got Willie Hernan Gomez. Could be valuable as a backup for us. I always said we can't keep running with 3 centers that have the same kind of game, with Sims, Hartenstein, and Mitch. Give me a backup center that has a post game or can stretch it, just something different. That's all I'm asking for, fam. So, I don't love Willie's game, but he has a little bit of can handle the ball, got good hands in the post, can give us 8 to 10 points off the bench with some post moves. Damian Jones, Rodney Magruder, Javon Carter is an interesting name. Tibbs player, defensively, bulldog, can get in you. I could see that. I could see that fit. Completely unrestricted. Yep, I could see him fit. Thomas Bryant, Aaron Holiday, Theo Pinson. We're clutching at straws at the moment now. We'll just see if there's any diamond in the rough. Like I said, Keita Bates Diop is a interesting name. CAA client. I could see him, them taking a flyer on him. Maybe a Mo Wagner can shoot it. Toscano Anderson, Thanasis. Now Herb Jones has the club option, so that's not happening. Now we get into some interesting names now, fam. We got Strauss, we got Gabe Vincent, right? Talking about DiVincenzo's fit. As much as I hate them, Gabe Vincent, Max Strauss, huge fits. What do you guys think here? So Gabe Vincent has the salary of 1.7 mil, unrestricted. And we have Max Strauss, shooting guard as well, capable of starting, coming off the bench, running around the curl, dribbling, defending. He's earned himself a payday. So, look, if I'm the Heat, you've got to try to bring them back, right? Both of them. huge part of what they do. I'm expecting them to try to at least pay one of them, unrestricted both. That's tricky. No, no chance to 100% retain them. They could choose a bigger destination. So, yeah. Dirty likes Watanabe. Buzzer says, yeah, Mo Wagner's decent. Yep, big man, can shoot it a little. Vincent, solid two-way. I like a bit more size there, though, but I love to hurt the Heat. 100%. Yep, Heat are going to be way into the tax. I don't think they keep either. Now you're talking. Yep, good stuff, fam. I could deal with that. If they lose both of them, man, sign me up. You know why? Because that makes them weaker as well. I already said I feel like the Knicks are at least the third best team in the East. We won the season series against Boston. We won the season series against the Heat, the Cavs. It's basically Milwaukee. And, if Philly lose Harden, you could slot us into that second or third seed. Definitely. And especially if the Heat get worse. I don't see Washington rising up. I don't see Toronto retooling enough to rise up. And I don't see ATL rising up enough. So best believe, fam, the door is wide open for these New York Knicks. We just need to just come through, man, and smash that door down now, and hopefully get good health in the playoffs. Hopefully, offensive coordinator for Tibbs. Learn from some mistakes. Let's see. Maybe even next trade deadline we make another big splash to make a run. That's why sort of this could be a big off season, but don't forget about the trade deadline next season, because what they could use how we start to evaluate how the Knicks look. Let's say we start out with some crazy record like 30 and let's say we're 30-8. Not saying that's going to happen, but something crazy, and it's like, okay, now is the time. Let's make that all in. Let's see. So yeah, this summer, next trade deadline, the East is wide open right now. Yeah, another good situation why the Heat are in struggle town with these kind of undrafted guys. Again, you could hit, but can you retain everybody is another thing. The Knicks struck early. They re-signed RJ Barrett, which could look like a great contract next season. Julius Randle's contract before he's available for the Supermax, and of course 2 years of Jalen Brunson on a descending deal is going to be amazing. So I could see them making that swing soon. So yeah, a Shake Milton, another CAA client. I love this fit. Stroke a microwave off the bench, can come in, can light it up. Let's say if we lost Emmanuel Quickley, or we could just get Shake Milton. That's something I would look at. Rep by Drew Morrison with CAA, along with Rocco. Shake Milton's a name. I like him. Yeah, we're getting into some pieces now that fit. Naz Reid, Jalen McDaniels, just like Dirty hit on as well. Not to be mistaken with Jaden McDaniels with the T-Wolves, but Jalen McDaniels is more up and coming, but at a friendly price. Philly, again, a lot of things in flux with Philly. One thing's for sure with Philly, there's that connection with Tobias Harris now, expiring money. I hope we've learnt from that. But the reason I mentioned Harris' name is because we've heard the Knicks linked to Tobias Harris before, Long Island native, and a Tom Thibodeau. He's a favorite of Tom Thibodeau as well. So I hope we stay away from Tobias, but expiring money, maybe there's something that happens there. What's good, Darren? Salute. What do you see the Knicks realistically doing on draft night? Realistically, I think we definitely get into this draft, whether it's second round or late in the first round as well. I feel very strongly about the Knicks getting a selection in this draft because I think their play might be to make a 2-for-1 trade or a 3-for-1 trade with Evan Fournier, Obi, IQ, something like that, which is going to open up roster spots, fam, and you need cheap young talent, and draft picks can help you. So, and you can choose a particular skill set from any player you like in the draft. It could be like a Taylor Hendricks, kind of guy we need who shoots. Guys, maybe a backup point guard, anything like that. But I think at the very least, fam, we make a trade. We try to get into the late first round, or we buy a second round pick, or we definitely sign an undrafted free agent like we always usually do. It could be a Exhibit 10 deal. Don't got to be any guarantee. Just like John Montero. I think we're gonna through our connections with Kentucky, CAA, we're gonna probably tell an agent to tell their client to go undrafted. Let's say if it's the 40th selection, the 50th selection, and the Knicks like a player, the player might say, "Hey, I want to go undrafted. I want to go to the Knicks." So as well, that's what I think's going to happen, man. Salute Julian. What's good? What's happening? Dirty says they will trade a protected pick or 2 seconds to get into the late first. Yep, you said it, 100%. We've got enough draft gurus that will see something they like. Walt Perrin is all over the place. Tom Thibodeau, as you know, was in the combine scouting. Brock Aller loves recycling assets. So I think, and Tom Thibodeau is going to see somebody he likes, I think, as well. And like I say, they've got an eye on the future, man. The future is now. What's going to happen when Jalen Brunson's contract, is not cheap anymore? It's cheap right now. But in 2 more years, best believe Jalen Brunson's going to be on 40, 50, I don't know, 60 mil, whatever it is. Julius Randle, would you pay him that kind of money? So, yeah, these guys know how important it is to recycle the talent, recycle the payroll, all of those things. Again, with Obi, Leon Rose loves Obi. Sam Rose, his agent. But I don't know if they're willing to invest money in him yet, on the second contract. Remember, they recycled Kevin Knox. They knew, hey, we're not going to be able to keep Kevin Knox. Let's turn him into Cam Reddish, just anything we can get. I expect that to be very similar, especially with IQ, though. We're going to get, obviously, we would use him to get a much, much bigger piece. Phoenix, very, very interested in IQ. They've got Landry Shamet, I don't know, DeAndre Ayton. They've got other pieces. I don't know what makes sense, but maybe a 3-way deal as well. Yeah, Rosas, Wesley, Perrin, all these dudes doing work right now. And I credit Leon still. Leon doesn't get all the credit very often, but Leon, being a huge power agent, knows business side of things. Not necessarily talent evaluating, we don't know yet, but Leon Rose knows the business better than anyone. Like, he led CAA as well. He built this empire from the ground up as well. So it ain't easy building such a big client list, So yeah, these guys know the business side of things, and we hear that Brock Aller is always in Leon's ear about maximizing asset management. So yeah, I like Jalen McDaniels as a flyer upside. Naz Reid, I think, Minnesota cannot afford to lose a Naz Reid. 1.5 milli, Minnesota center. He's going to command probably the 12 to 15 mil as well. They're probably going to try to trade Cat for that reason. You've got Rudy Gobert. They made that trade. They're not about to try to trade him and look stupid. So what can make them look smart? Trade Cat. Use that money. Elevate Nas Reed. So yeah, I just told you what I think Minnesota are going to do. I think we just saw that bomb today. They're trying to trade Cat in the next 2-3 weeks. Maybe they're just trying to leak that out to see who's going to buy it. But if you're Minnesota, that makes sense. You traded the farm for Rudy. You're about to lose a bright young asset, Nas Reed. You don't want to lose him. So see you later, Carl Towns. You certainly can't pay 3 big men close to max money. That'd be crazy. I don't know, maybe a sign and trade. That would be interesting. Now KJ, I could see him shaking loose from Houston. They're trying to retool with Harden, maybe make some splash as well. Try to accelerate. He's an intriguing athlete, KJ. Isaiah Livers flashed some things. No thanks to Lamar Stevens. Our friend Deuce McBride is going to come back. Very, very cheap player option. Red, you see club option. Deuce is coming back. What else we got? Goga Bitase, the big stretch big man from Europe, from INDY. Now that's an interesting one because he always seems to hit threes on us as well. So that's what I was mentioning about, if the Knicks do keep Mitch, they keep Isaiah. I would love for us to have a third big man that can at least do something different. There's no use paying 3 guys that do the same thing, right? That's the definition of insanity as well. And we got Michael Fotis up in here trolling as well. Yeah. Yeah, we got Goga. That's the kind of thing where, he offers something different. What's good, JJ? Now, Austin Reeves, LA would be stupid to let him go. So he's going to probably come back as well. Let's say, put it like this, if the Lakers can't retain Reeves, then LeBron's probably out of there. Ayo Dosunmu, I was high on him, but it's difficult to determine with Chicago. They're a mess right now. That could be a buy low situation, but he's restricted, so I'm not outbidding no one. Another backup center and a fellow Aussie, Jock Landale, would be worth a flyer if he's available, but I think Phoenix should definitely try to retain him. Luka Garza doesn't play any defense. Now, Terrence T-Rex Ross, rep by Aaron Mintz, CAA, definite target for him, unrestricted fully, right? Can sign with anybody. Terrence Ross been long interested in getting to a contender, being on a team like the Knicks, who he could get some minutes off the bench and light it up. So, could Terrence Ross be that guy the Knicks look at? Gorgie Jang, Justin Holiday, we used to have him. I think that about sums it up, fam. So yeah, Max Strauss, Gabe Vincent, Torrey Craig, guys that aren't free agents. So I would look at, can we get a Doug McDermott, Keldon Johnson out of San Antonio? What do you guys think about that? Yeah, Doug McDermott loved his time in New York. He's got a $13 million final year of salary. I would give them Evan Fournier, and I would give them a sweetener to get a Doug McDermott back. Perfect role player, can cut, would link up with Tibbs again back in his Chicago days. Doug McDermott, 6'10", shoots well, shoots off the bounce, shoots off the screen. One of the elite cutters in the NBA as well. Backdoor cuts all day with Kyle O'Quinn. And picture a 2.0 with Isaiah Hartenstein, Doug McBuckets. off the bench as well. So, I mean, I would look at that. I know he's not a free agent though, so I'm just giving you some other pieces that I think could fit. But yeah, Keldon Johnson would fit really well as well. It's going to be, they're probably going to be one of the most fascinating teams now with Victor up in there and Pop. You know, does Victor look amazing and they try to accelerate things maybe a little bit, to Pop's timeline? That could be interesting. We could have some pieces they might want. Maybe a Julius Randle, maybe an RJ, maybe a Mitch. Well, they've got Wemby, so I don't know if that's going to fit too well. But they might even be interested in an IQ. But yeah, Keldon Johnson fits really well. Doug McDermott fits well. I mentioned Shake Milton, another name who's CAA. He fits really well, and a couple of these backup big men as well. What's good, Craig? Dirty says Keldon would be that major steal, but might be gettable coming off the bad shooting year. He has a nice contract as well. Yeah, versatile as well. JJ says Nas Reed, he a bucket at the 5. Yeah. Gettable. I don't know if we can use the mid-level and clear up a little bit more space, but again, it would probably require a Julius Randle trade. It would require a Mitch trade. We're kind of clogged up right now with Isaiah. By the way, I think there will be interest in Isaiah Hartenstein. He's $8 million. So that's something to look out for. He's a CAA client, so had a solid year. I would think it's unlikely, but maybe if there's enough interest in Isaiah Hartenstein, the Knicks might be interested in that because it's smart to cash in sometimes when the interest is high, and the opportunity is there to make that move. So yeah, we'll put timestamps also on the show. But yeah, early on we talked about the CAA tree, the family. If not this year, something to look out for in the future. It's no surprise we have 5 Knicks CAA players and more in the future. Randle, Brunson, Obi, Hartenstein, former Knicks, all of those things. And of course, Sam Rose, Leon Rose's son, Aaron Mintz, former partner. Those guys would be in conversations daily, on speed dial about what's going on around the league. Leon Rose knows what's happening around the league. So something is brewing, right, with these guys. Karl Anthony Towns is going to be on the move at some point. I don't see him staying. Does Leon just know Donovan Mitchell eventually is going to find his way to the Knicks, or try to, is an interesting thing to see as well. Out of the other Aaron Mintz clients, I don't see D'Lo. I don't see a Paul George. Like I said, I could see an Eric Gordon for a veteran minimum. I could maybe see a Gary Harris, Josh Green, possibly. Luke Kennard is an interesting name to look at as well. Talk about a guy who definitely is that shooter, Luke Kennard. And of course, Terrence Ross is the other name. Yeah, JJ says KMJ. Yep, we talked about him, but they're matching all offers, say 100%. Looks like they're trying to keep the duo with Bridges, fam, and Johnson. Yeah, JJ out there in Brooklyn knows what's going down. I think they're smart to build around those guys, and Claxton as well. I could see, maybe the dudes on the move is maybe Joe Harris, Patty Mills, Seth Curry. I could see those guys on the move. Royce O'Neal, maybe. Also CAA. Darren says the Knicks are looking to become winners in the draft and free agency. Yeah, 100%. We're looking to take the next level, next step. I don't see a sideward step, and I don't see a backward step. I think given the fact that we had a solid, very, very solid season, we're coming back. We're the best, probably team, or close to the best team in the Atlantic Division. if you think about it. I mean, you got Boston there, but outside of Boston, I think Philly's going to be very different, and I think we could be the top 3 seed in the East, definitely. Um, it's nothing to sneeze at. We got the mid-level, $12 million to spend, guys that are retained on reasonable contracts, very friendly contracts. Young talent ascending, they might take a huge leap. RJ, Quickley, Grimes, Mitch, still. Randle's going to be back. Randle's going to be Randle if he's healthy, together with Brunson. I think we just sprinkle in a bit of versatility. We sprinkle in some movement, some shooting, and a backup point guard if Quickley's not here. But yeah, the Obi situation, we got Isaiah Obi, who's a rebounder, a banger. He's there for, insurance policy development. I think he's solid. But yeah, like if you guys want a safe bet from me on draft night, like I'd put maybe 50-50 that Obi, that maybe prior to the draft, on the draft night, I think Obi Toppin is that big name to look out for. If I'm going to make any big prediction, I just look at the links with Sam Rose, his agent, wanting the best for him. That's what it's all about, just wanting the best. The way Obi was used, it's difficult. But also it might come down to how much one other team wants Obi. Like let's say, for example, Indiana just go cold. They're just not interested in Obi anymore. I could see the Knicks retaining him just for another year, maybe trading him at the trade deadline, see if he can get that value up a bit more. The shooting is there, all of those things, fam. Organic, appreciate you. Let's go. Salute. Yeah, Portland, Indiana, Detroit, I think Houston, heck, even Minnesota could be a good fit as well. Let's say they're going to lose a Naz Reid, but they want someone that's young, upside, on a cheaper price. Maybe we could work out some kind of sign and trade with Naz Reid, Minnesota. Maybe the bigger splash with Cat, but yeah, I don't know with Cat, man. I know there's the connections there. I think Donovan Mitchell. Again, if I'm trying to make a safe bet, it's not exactly bold, but out of these CAA majored players, I think it's most likely going to be Spider Mitchell. I'm just trying to look at the future and look at how Cleveland try to, build. I just don't see Cleveland being able to be successful in a short period of time, like really successful. Talking about getting to the second or third round, a lot of pressure is on Cleveland this offseason. I think they made that knee-jerk move to try to go all in with Spider maybe 1 or 2 years too soon. Kobe Altman, Cleveland were bold, but I think they just tried to go in too soon. They didn't yet know what they had in Evan Mobley. They thought he was going to take a huge jump. They thought the Garland Spider pairing would work out. Two guys that are a bit soft, bit undersized, too much offense, not enough defense. Very, very predictable. I think the Knicks out-toughed Cleveland, outmatched them, and they'll do it again. That's another reason we signed Josh Hart. Let's face it, he's their kryptonite. Now, I saw an interesting thing. Cleveland could look at, what's his name? Dylan Brooks. Now, that would be a bold, cheap kind of play. A guy that they need, a dirty work enforcer, Dylan Brooks kind of guy. Isaac Okoro was not it. He's not it. So, yeah, they're kind of stuck at the moment. And I do think there's some redundancy with Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley. Again, for two guys in the same lineup, not enough offense as well. One's an all NBA elite defender, and the other one's an all-star on the defensive side too. But yeah, too much redundancy. So yeah, again, safe bet is Donovan Mitchell eventually out of this big CAA fam finds his way, especially off today's continuing rumors and news. Karl Anthony Towns, I don't see as likely, but of course I won't be shocked. D'Lo, Zion, no. Devin Booker is that pipe dream in the future. Probably not in the next 2 years, but maybe maybe after 4 years' time. Maybe after Phoenix have had a run. Let's see. But yeah, I think it's Spider. Organic Fanatics says RJ for Mitch in Cleveland, and we give a pick. I think Cleveland's going to start to lose some leverage too. So that's interesting. And that's case in point 101, why you never go all in too soon, and why Leon Rose was smart never to trade the farm for Donovan Mitchell. Because again, through channels, through CAA, through whatever, he kind of knows the feeling, let's put it that way, the feeling players have towards the Knicks. And he's kind of thinking it's just a matter of time, It's just a matter of time before this next player chooses the Knicks. So why am I going to trade everything for him? Kind of thing. Let's keep rocking out. Again, they waited for Jalen Brunson and they striked. He was a complete unrestricted free agent. We had all the leverage. It was never a Carmelo thing all over. He waited and he chose the Knicks as well, man. So yeah, these guys being smart, man. Yeah. So yeah, you guys buzzing out, keeping the score. Let's go. Let's see what's happening, man, in the game 4 as well. I've not had the score up at all as I load it up. We've got the Nuggets 79, the Heat 70, 1 minute to play in the third. Seems like there's a delay. Well, if the Nuggets can win this one, it's a wrap in 5 as I selected. So, but yeah, the Heat are crazy. Great season overall. Now it's a 10-point lead, 83-73, end of the third. So fascinating, right in time for the fourth quarter as well. We'll get ready to wrap this thing up. But yeah, got a few guests lined up next week, connected to this situation, connected to the Knicks. And of course, I want to talk more about the draft. So we'll have some draft guests on. We'll look at some prospects in the, late back end of the first round, second round, undrafted. We'll continue to talk about who's working out for the New York Knicks. Some guys that we're trying to develop and sign maybe as an undrafted guy. But yeah, today wasn't so much about speculation. It's more about what's factual and connecting the dots, But for the Knicks have 5 CAA players. Leon Rose's son represents one of them. And guys that fit the mid-level and fit what we're trying to do off the bench as well. We all know some of our beloved starting players could be eventually traded. But the street's always going to continue to buzz, so we watch that. But we just haven't really heard a real big report yet from Woj, Windhorst, Shams, Begley, Berman, Bondi, Popper, Katz. Jake Fisher today, though, did sort of give us something about Phoenix's interest in Emmanuel Quickley as well, which, is no surprise. Teams are definitely be looking at Quickley like, hey, he's the next starter. Let's try to poach him, kind of like the way guys are looking at a Naz Reid as well. So yeah, it's been interesting chopping this thing up as well, going through the free agents, the CAA connections, right? The streets are buzzing, smashing that like button. Go Nuggets. They're my pick. Nuggets in 5 as well. But yeah, some fascinating names to talk about. I really think, the Spider Mitchell thing's not going away. But yeah, this front office is playing it fairly smart. I think they're waiting, they're biding their time, man. We've got assets, we've got a superstar, we've got an all-star. Young players rising up, let's get it. The best fan base in the biz, the best chat in the streets. See you on the next one. Have a great weekend. I'll try to maybe get on tomorrow night or Sunday as well. I think there'll be plenty more to chop up. So yeah, I'll probably be on again this weekend. Let's keep it buzzing as always. Peace.